Okay, we have a very young researcher who did her honors thesis for her bachelor's degree. She's going to be going into the MAT program and in the fall. Well, right now, actually, are you skipping? I'm just playing with you. She doesn't know me like the rest of everybody else. Chelsea, this is Chelsea Albright. She did her research. It's called College Knowledge. And when it was brought to our attention, it was ridiculously exciting because what she developed for, I'll let her tell you, can be tweaked and moved to be used at any level. And it's college awareness, and she just graduated with honors, summa cum laude. Woo! We are in the midst of greatness over here. And she just graduated with honors and from the University of Arkansas in May, and we're going to let her share her research with you.
Hello, my name is Chelsea Albright, and I'm currently an MAT graduate, like she said. I'm in graduate school. I'm in the University of Arkansas program. I'm studying to be an elementary school teacher, and for this upcoming school year, I'll be an intern at George Elementary in Springdale, Arkansas. I'm really excited, and that's also where I did my honors research, which I'll talk to you about. It wasn't 200 pages, but it was 100 and something pages, and so I'm not going to go into a lot of my research, but I'll tell you about how to implement it to your classroom. And there's a lot of fun pictures, and I really love my kids. We concluded the program with a tour of the University of Arkansas, and that's what those kids and me are in front of Old Main for, and they're holding a sign it says Class of 2026, just to make you feel a little bit old. Education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. That is a quote and an idea that drives me to become a good teacher. I believe that all of us who work with students have this goal, to light fires within them. But once we light those fires and they don't know where to go next, what do? Does that fire eventually get burned out? Is there like a... Oh, yes. So, don't confuse college readiness with college awareness. My study was on college awareness. College readiness is getting a student academically prepared for college. So a kid can be really, really smart, but if they don't know about college, they're not going to go. And my research was on college awareness, which is the level of a student's knowledge of what college is. So for a little bit of my personal experience, I'm the second person from my family to go and graduate from college. And I was lost in the process, and my mom has a graduate degree. She didn't go off to college, but I did. And she was able to help me navigate the college vocabulary and all that stuff, but I was still very lost, and I could not imagine being a first-generational student. Here's just a small sample that I thought of for about 30 seconds of college vocabulary. If a student wants to go to college and is academically ready to go to college but doesn't hear these words until their senior year of college, their chances of following through with a college application is probably pretty low. So in order to conduct my research, I needed to read other research. In this country, there's an increase in the demand for careers that require completed post-secondary education. Students from less privileged families lack connections and social capital that is vital for them to go to college. Students who do not have college knowledge are unlikely to be successful in college, even if they excel in academics. LSCS students often have misinformed expectations of what college is, and they don't think they're smart enough to go. Academics are formed as early as the elementary years, so it's important to start planning for college early. And the middle grade should be seen as a launching pad. So for my college awareness program, I focus on 5th grade. While I found many studies on ProQuest and EBSCO and on the internet about college readiness, there were very few on college readiness or college awareness. Northwest Arkansas has a lot of students in Title I schools who have little to no awareness of college. So I studied if a college awareness program would increase their knowledge and which topics should be taught with college awareness. To do this, I developed a pre and post test that measured the student's knowledge of college. You're going to hear that a lot, I'm sorry, college knowledge. For my intervention, I designed a short 3-week program in which I met with the students for six sessions. I taught 12 lessons, and each lesson targeted one or more topics that I was researching. And from my study, I found that my program did increase the students' knowledge of college. And I'll talk to you about the 9 topics that I studied. These are the 9 topics that I studied for statistical significance, and 7 of the 9 made a statistically significant difference with the children. And these are the topics: students' basic definitions of college, career goals, knowledge of existing universities, financial plan, students' current preparations for college, factors that affect students' desire to attend college, and knowledge of contacting universities. The reason that desire to attend college and knowledge of college courses are marked through is because they do not necessarily need to be targeted in classroom lessons. A student may not know what college is, but a lot of students want to go, even if they don't know what it is, because we're constantly saying, you know, go work hard so you can go to college, and so they know they want to go. So usually, just teaching them about college will take care of the desire of them wanting to go to college. Knowledge of college courses is not necessarily needed. It might be with your students, but I had 5th grade, and they don't really know what classes they would need to be taking. But they did ask me, so do you take science and math and reading like we do in 5th grade? And I said, kind of, but there's thousands of classes of whatever you want to take. And one kid asked, well, what about art? And I said, there are hundreds of art classes you can take that study all different kinds of art, and they couldn't believe it. And that took care of knowledge of college courses, and I didn't need to really focus on it too much. The students, sorry, I have a little cold. The student's basic definition of college is the first topic that I studied, and it's exactly what it sounds like. So if the student had to tell someone what college was, what would they say? This topic of the student's basic definition of college made the biggest gains within the study. All of the 15 students in the beginning were not able to give me a good basic definition of college. 4 of the 15 students were able to tell me that it was a place. They could not tell me what it was. So we're telling our students, study hard so you can get to college, but what does that mean to students if they don't know what college is? So how you can incorporate this topic into your classroom. Here is an example of just something I did. It's not super exciting, but it opened the kids' minds, and it's one of the first lessons that I did. So this is kind of a graphic organizer. On the left, you would ask your students, you know, what is 5th grade? What do you do in 5th grade? So here's some examples of just what they gave me. We did this on a whiteboard, but just for our purposes. So we have class from 8 to 3, Monday through Friday. There's not a lot of freedom. Our teachers care about us. It's free to us. We don't have to pay for school. And we have homework. And so I went to their responses, and on the right I put, okay, well, I'll tell you about college. Well, instead of you having class all day, every day for 5 days, I have class just a couple days a week, and I get to sleep whenever I want. And I told them, you have all the freedom you want, and they kind of got crazy, and they got excited, but I was like, yeah, but your professors might care. Some of them do, and some of them don't care a whole bunch. Well, their teachers, I mean, they're such great teachers in this area, but, and college costs thousands of dollars, and they're like, oh, and we have mountains of homework. You think you have homework, you just wait. And so they sat there and started thinking, college is a lot different, and I don't know what it is, but I want to know. It's something I've never really heard of before. I told you that I wouldn't talk about desire to attend college, but here's a lesson that I started out the entire program with. A lot of you know this poem, The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. The point of this lesson was my students and I read it out loud, and then we applied it to college. We decided that the road that is easier to travel is the road that they may or may not graduate from college, they may or may not graduate from high school. They go right into the workforce, but they get paid quicker, you know. And that's not a bad road. That's the road a lot of their parents did take. And there's nothing wrong with that road. But they do need to know that there's another road that they can take. They can go to college, and it's less traveled, and it's more difficult, and it requires a lot of hard work, but it often ends up in a happier and higher paying job. And the point of this lesson was for kids to say, oh, hey, now I know that this other road exists, and I want to take this road, and I want to go to college. My students responded very well with it, and it set the attitude for the rest of the program. The third topic that I studied was career goals. I believe this topic is important because a student may be more driven in school if they have an end goal in mind of a career that they want. When I first tested the students on the pre-test, I asked them what they wanted to be when they grow up, and almost all of them said a soccer player or a singer. And I'm sure that sounds like a fun job and that might interest them, but I think it's because they don't know about other jobs that fit their interests. So let's teach them. If you were to do aptitude testing such as I did, I focused only on their interests and only what they're interested in. My kids are in 5th grade. Their academics right now aren't going to tell me a whole lot about what they should do when they grow up. But I know for me, in middle school and high school, I took an aptitude test that my school forced me to take, and both times it told me to be a diesel truck mechanic. And that didn't work out, and I wasn't interested in it. But that didn't get me excited for college or excited for a career. But for example, I had a student who said that he was interested in working outside. He loves science. He likes working with his hands. So I said, okay, well, what if you go to college and you major in environmental science and you become an alpinist? And he goes, what is that? And I said, well, you get paid for climbing mountains. And his eyes just got so big, and he's like, you can go to college to learn how to climb mountains and be an alpinist? He didn't know what that was. And I was like, yeah, you can. And 2 other ways that we explored career goals. We went through an interactive PowerPoint where we learned about a couple dozen different majors that were unique and I thought would interest my students. And we had a guest speaker, Dr. Michael Daugherty, if y'all know him from the university. He's one of my professors, and I really like him. And he came and talked to the students about engineering. So here's just a little worksheet that the kids did while I was going through the PowerPoint. They wrote down things that interest them or majors that interested them, and then they wrote down what they liked about it and what they would do with their major. So for example, this student was interested in education, interior design, accounting, business, and culinary arts. Here's a picture of some of my students, some of my engineers. They were trying to build a strong fishing pole using only spaghetti and tape. The winners got some, Dr. Daugherty brought some little University of Arkansas pins for the students to wear if they won, and the 4 winners are probably still wearing them. They really liked them. And here's Michael Daugherty, the professor who came to speak with my students about STEM. The students never realized that building things to solve problems was a career and a major, and they were completely invested in this engineering lesson. The next topic I studied was knowledge of existing universities. Changing a student's mindset from I want to go to college to I want to go to the University of Arkansas, Florida, I want to go to Harvard. I had a kid who wanted to go to Harvard. It really gives them something to strive for when they are turning in their papers and they're working hard in school. It's kind of like whenever you were a kid and you found a stray cat and your mom told you, don't name it because you'll want it. And it's kind of like when a student knows where they want to go to school, it's like putting a name with a stray cat, except way better. Well, I don't know. I really like cats. Knowledge of existing. So for the knowledge of existing colleges and universities, the first thing we did, I asked all my students some different questions and they wrote down their answers on a piece of paper. I said, do you want to go somewhere that's close to home or do you want to go somewhere far from home? Do you want to go to a school where it's all girls or do you want to go to a school where it's all boys and you're all the same? And so the students wrote down their answers and then they put them in order of what was most important to them to least important to them. This student really wanted to be close to her family and that was her #1 priority. She wanted to be a vet, so she wanted to go to a school who had a good vet program. She wanted to be in drama club. She wanted to be in a small city, and she went ahead and wrote Fayetteville. And she wanted to be around similar girls, and can't read that last one. Huh. Oh, she wants to go to a large college. Thank you for your help. So here's a just college research guide that the students filled out once they identified what kind of school they wanted to go to. They got online and they searched different universities and they filled out the sheet. And it helped them put a tuition with the name and a location with the name and a mascot with the name. The next topic for my study is students' financial plan. Sadly, we all know the sad reality that faces a lot of our students. Without scholarships and financial aid, our students are not likely to go to college because they can't afford it. And the saddest thing about my study is that on the pretest that the students took, 13 students took it because one was absent beginning and one was absent post. So only 13 students I could measure. But 11 of the 13 students who took the pretest told me that they couldn't go to college because they didn't have enough money. And this was before the program. But the surprising thing about this is that none of those 11 students were able to tell me what college was. These kids can't give me a basic definition of what college is, but they already know somehow that they can't go. So let's tell them the truth and let's change their minds because there are millions of scholarships. I needed someone to come in and tell the students that money couldn't stop them from going to college. Of course I could tell them that, but they get tired of listening to me and they want to hear that from someone who totally knows what they're talking about. So I had my friend's fiance come in and speak to the students. He's an ROTC Army student, he's a triple major in criminal justice, sociology, and Spanish, and he has college completely paid for because of scholarships and ROTC. So through this lesson, my students learned some key vocabulary words needed for college awareness, made major improvements in their attitudes towards college tuition, and they asked a lot of questions about financial aid. They were astonished that you could go to college for free, and that they could go to college for free. My next topic that I studied was current preparation for college. Current preparation for college is vital for college awareness. Students start making decisions about their education in early middle school, if not earlier than that. They decide, am I going to copy someone's work or am I going to do my own? Am I going to be engaged in the lesson or are my eyes going to glaze over when the teacher's talking? To get them really pumped about learning or being eager to learn, I had a guest speaker come and speak with them. His name is Dakota, and he was a football player who was graduating from the university. He played in the Cotton Bowl and got that cool ring that all the students are obsessing over. The students enjoyed getting to know Dakota, and when I asked them, they filled out a post-reflection of the program, and they said that this was the most influential and fun lesson that they had. And it's because it was a real-world person who's showing them, you can go to college, and his story was a unique one. He told the students that he was told whenever he was their age that you are too small to play football, you're not smart enough to go to college and play football. So he studied hard and made good grades and worked hard and was able to play corner for the Razorbacks for 4 years. He encouraged the students to make wise decisions in school because if they do, they'll get to live out their dreams like he did. He's now pursuing a graduate degree in education and wants to be a coach. Factors that affect students' desire to attend college. This is a topic that was usually tackled with me for a case-by-case intervention. Students all had different concerns. Obviously, some were really concerned about their family. Some were concerned about their dog. And some of them were really concerned about the amount of homework they would have, and also if they don't graduate from high school, which was kind of sad. The students all had different concerns, and so I addressed them when I sensed that they were nervous about something or uneasy about something that I had said. To cover this topic, your classroom will need to have a safe environment where the students will feel like they can voice their fears. Because, I mean, the kids who said, I don't know if I want to be away from my mom, no one made fun of that because it was a safe environment and they all don't want to be away from their mom. Knowledge of contacting university was absolutely my favorite topic. Students knowing that they can talk to real people that represent colleges got them really excited. They learned that they could call and mail letters and email and even go on tours to learn about colleges that they were interested in. Here's an example of an activity we did. Each student wrote a letter to the college that they identified in the Knowledge of Existing Universities lesson where the students filled out the college research guide. It says, Dear University of Florida, hello, my name is blank, and I go to George Elementary in Springdale, Arkansas, and I'm a 5th grader. I get good grades and I am on a soccer team. I am in a college awareness group and we are learning about colleges. I like yours the best. Please send me information about your college and pennants. I want to study computer engineering. Thank you for taking the time to respond to my letter. Go Albert and Alberta Gators, a future college student, his name. And I just wanted to say that the universities mostly did write back. Here's a picture with our letters that we wrote to our favorite colleges. The tour was definitely the highlight of the college awareness program. We concluded the program with a 4-hour tour of the University of Arkansas. So here's an itinerary of the tour. I won't necessarily read it, but they got to see real college students in a real college class, and I had spoken with the professor before, Dr. Marcia, and Beverly her. She let me bring in my students and talk to her students, her college students, about what they were doing. What are you doing with your computer? Is this a project? You're in class right now, and they actually had an intern from their school who was in that class, and so they got to see their teacher as a student. Here's just a picture of some students in Hotz Honors Hall. I was an RA for 2 years at the university, and so I got to take the students into some different dorm rooms. Here's a picture that I just told you about. Students visiting with real college students who are in class and working on projects. Here's a silly picture in front of Old Main. It's the same one as was in the beginning of the presentation, but this one's silly because that's mandatory. The students also went on a tour of the Hyper at the end, and they were really excited about all the different things that the university has to offer that their elementary school that they go to during the day doesn't have to offer. Here's some takeaways from my research. Start college awareness early, maybe as early as 5th grade or maybe even earlier, just to get the students used to the vocabulary and get them to thinking, what am I going to do when I grow up? College awareness is just as important as academic college readiness. A student may be academically ready for college but may not end up going because they didn't know where to start applying or why to start applying. My study was an after-school program that sole purpose was to build the students' college awareness, but you can steal from my program and incorporate it into the school day. Students love real-life experiences, especially if they don't have any otherwise, such as a tour or guest speakers. If you take anything from this program, I would say to bring in guest speakers. They love them, and they're real people who are in college. Here's one more takeaway, and you can look at that selfie that we took at the very end of the program. They made me. I'm sorry. But I have one more takeaway for you all. These students that you see here are mostly middle-of-the-road students. They're not the top of the class, but yet they're still bright students who don't need a pail filled, but need a fire lit. I was nervous about being a first-time teacher alone with 15 5th graders, alone. But it was the most rewarding time of my life. It's important to know and remember that these students and students like them might miss out on college because no one tells them where to start or why to start. Throughout this entire program, I did not have a single behavioral issue. Yes, these students are good, but even good students don't always make good choices. But they are all too engaged to misbehave. And this isn't because of my talent for teaching, because I don't have that yet. But let me tell you, it's because these students were learning about something that lit their fires, and it became personal for them. They took the program I created on paper and for a thesis and made it their own. They figured out that they were completely capable of being who they want to be, and I hope all of us can carry this attitude into our classrooms. If you would like any of my lessons or would like, for some reason, to read my 115-page thesis, you can just email me at this email link right here. I will, if you just tell me maybe your name and that you want access, I can send you a Dropbox link, and if you don't have Dropbox, I'll figure something out. I'll send you any of my worksheets and any of my lesson plans.
Any questions?
Yes.
How many weeks is your program?
Okay, so I was really intimidated to be a first-time teacher with 15 fifth graders, and so I only made it 3 weeks long, and it was only twice a week. If I could have gone back and done this again, I would have made it 2 months long, 3 times a week, because these students were, I didn't know if they would really care. I had no idea what I was doing, but it was only 3 weeks, but man, I wish I'd done a lot longer. Yes?
Did you need any type of funding for transportation for the kids, or did the school district provide that for you?
Okay, so everything throughout the program I either paid for, but all the guest speakers were just people I was friends with. It's crazy how you can just make some connections and bring people into your classroom, but you probably know that. For the bus, I'm really close with Dr. Marcia Imbo, who is my thesis advisor and also my liaison at George Elementary next year. And so she was able to talk to the principal, and they worked something out to where the students only brought $2 a piece and were able to go to the university and everything. I guess the district funded it, but I wasn't involved in that. Yes?
I know it's 9 to 13 years away, but do you plan to follow them?
Oh, I would love to follow them. Those students are really near to my heart. Yeah. Yeah, I love them a lot. And they email me and they follow me on Instagram and I follow them back. Yeah, I don't know why I'm emotional. Y'all made me nervous.
Did they all, do you know which middle school they went to?
George, George, what's the other one? George?
They all go to the same one.
They went to the one that was next to it. I should know that. I think it's also called George.
Probably Kelly. Yeah.
Okay.
I was just wondering.
Oh, George Junior High School. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Okay. Any other questions? I love talking about it. Thank you.
This is why we do what we do, isn't it? And this is planting the seeds so others plant seeds, and that's so awesome. And so we wanted to make sure that you got to see some of our young researchers and what people are doing besides, so that you know that all of the seeds that we all plant, those of us that are already in the classroom and already in the universities, that we are, it's making a difference, and then they're making a difference, and then these children will make a difference. So I just wanted to make sure that you knew that, and Dr. Restrepo is going to introduce our next guest. This is exciting for me too.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jeanette. Thank you, Dr. Garcia Mont, and